This video is going to show you a weird solo Grandmaster Nightfall. Just to kind of remind people, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. The reasons why you want to subscribe today are as follows. Emperor Colony requests loyal enthusiast fanatics of Colony users to be subscribing today. So, this run is done on a Prismatic Hunter. I was doing some tests and I've ended up posting this run because I didn't expect me to get the clear. I'm using the exotic class item Spirit of Galanor and Spirit of the Star Eater. I'm testing out a build. So this was actually a test run. I wasn't going to post this up at all, but because I found out some information about some extra champ skips, not the ones that you've saw. You haven't saw these skips. There's another skip I've discovered. So there was that, and that I'm using Colony, and this was like literally my first legitimate serious clear on this run. So I was like, I'll just post this up and then, I'll quickly post it and then work on something else after it. This is not meant to be regarded upon as serious at all. This is just one of my test runs that I don't generally post up, but you found that I've posted this up. So look, we get a stun with the GL. Now we're going to use for the Colony enthusiast fanatic users. Look at the damage. We got hit quite hard there, though, off that Minotaur, off that overload on the left. But the gun, right, so let's talk about Colony, right, while you see the footage. Insectoid robot grenades, the main perk of Colony. These weapons grenades are insectoid robots that chase targets and explode close to them. Consumes tougher combatants to create additional robots. That got buffed. Colony has been buffed some point, and I don't know when it was. So I do not have the time or patience to be going looking up on what date Colony got buffed. If somebody if we can get a D2 librarian, please. I'm requesting a D2 librarian's assistant. Can you please find out the date when Colony got buffed and tell me how long it's been like this? Not to say that the gun's good, but they buffed it. Yes, this was never a thing. So when you kill a tougher combatant, you get more robots. I think they're onto something. They need to buff Colony's damage, and we might be somewhere with Colony, because Colony actually, I think if they give it, I'm not joking to you at all. If they buff Colony's ammo further than what it is now, so let's say give it 40 ammo. Have it as a spammy type GL, right? And buff its damage by probably 50% at least. Then we might start using it, because Colony's unique. It's always been unique. It's a very unique grenade launcher because it's the only weapon in the game that contains robots or nano-type machine things, apart from Ergo Sum, because Ergo Sum robbed the perk. Ergo Sum also has the robot things. So I think, yeah, like they've done a minor buff to Colony, buff it again in PvE, people might start using it. That's what I think. Now, this is kind of crazy that we're already 3 minutes in and we've already done the first part with Colony. Even with my meta runs, I'm generally 3 minutes at this part. Right, obviously this is the skip. You've seen this skip, right? So this skip you should know about already from my previous videos or from other people's runs. Yes, you will still get platinum rank even if you do the skimmer skip. You can do it with a sparrow if you can sparrow fly, but the skimmer strat's easier. So also talking a bit about the build. So the build, I was wanting to combine Spirit of Galanor with the Silk Strike Super, because Silk Strike got a buff, and I've obviously got the God roll for this build, to be honest, with Star Eater skills for Feast of Light to buff the Super, and I have the Galanor, which gives us Super. Now, on a good Super, you will get half or close to half. It depends, like this works slightly better with a Tether in terms of super regeneration, because you get more hits. But Tether's not a Roman super. Silk Strike is. So overall, you're going to get more supers. Now look at this for the Colony loyalists. Let's see what it does. See, there's two ways of using this GL. you can get your direct hits or fire near the enemy and then the robots seek the target. To be honest, like I say, this run's not to be taken seriously. I wouldn't recommend that you use Colony. It would be basically a waste of an exotic slot to you if you tried to attempt this. I was just shocked that I got this clear, to be honest. I was shocked, and to be honest with you, the clear was fine all the way up until the final boss. Obviously, when we get to the final boss, we lack damage, so the run slows all the way up. But up until the boss fight, we're actually doing good. We're cooking fine. We're cooking more than enough on what we need to do. So we've got Feast of Light ×4. You're gonna see me showcase Silk Strike and how effective it is. We're gonna push up. We popped our Transcendence here. Colony for the Colony loyalists. Here we go. Melt the Overload down. Still got half of a Transcendence bar. Let's spam our abilities. Let's push up. We don't need a Transcendence, so we may as well just use it to speed up this section. For the Colony loyalists again. There we go. And this is the new skip. So you will see a champ to my left in a box. Don't deal with him at all. So I've discovered on this run, it was only until this run that I discovered that you don't need to kill him. And I wondered if that was the case. Because, well, let me just commentate this up and I'll tell you in a minute. So we need to stun these two overlords behind cover. We're using the champion crate box as cover. Yes, it's absolutely fantastic cover. Then we get our stuns, and then look at this. We kill both overlords and all the enemies. That Silk Strike melted there. It absolutely melted. Now we have a Transcendence for the Rivens. We are on what, 6 minutes 30 with a Colony run? This run's absolutely cracked at this minute. We're actually doing really well. It's actually kind of hilarious. For the Colony loyalists, and then we pop a Transcendence, get a nice stick on the wall there. That trip mine will do massive damage for us. We're just spamming Colony. We're using it just to assist our damage. That is really it, because it's not really good on champs. Well, sometimes it melts the champs, though. I do have 1 or 2 clips where I do end up melting them in this run in 8 shots, which is technically what you want to be doing, spending on a champ. Because let's compare this to Chill Inhibitor, the god roll from Gunsmith, yeah? Well, if you do a bait and switch rotation, you're killing that champ in 6 shots. Once you do your damage, and then you swap to Chill Inhibitor, right? And Chill Inhibitor is 30 ammo plus something like that. It holds, whatever it holds. So Colony holds similar ammo to Chill Inhibitor, but it's got nowhere near the damage what Chill will do because it's got bait and switch and spike grenades. So I'm saying, like, look, it's an exotic GL. It's not meant to just be a PvP role, okay? We're in a grenade launcher season. While we still have grenade launchers up, they could easily buff this in January because, listen, nothing's going to get done until January now. Not really. I can't see them fixing a lot of stuff like the bottles, the teleporting ads. What you need to realize with corp companies, they don't work over Christmas. They don't work over the Christmas, but neither do you. So remember that, like you're off work as well. Don't forget the Christmas week. So very little gets done. So things that we're living with, probably you'll be living with it in January. But yeah, about the barrier champ. So to explain to you the champion platinum rewards mechanic, when it says at the bottom left hand corner, a champion has appeared, this then means you need to kill that champ for plat rank. He's the kicker. We didn't shoot the box, so therefore there is no champ that has appeared. He's not counted as a champ because you haven't opened him up. He's like a Pokemon. You haven't opened up out of that Pokeball. So he's still in that Pokeball. So we can skip him. So on any future runs on Inverted Spire, make sure that you just do not deal with him at all. You will save time because of it. Now you can kill him with Consecration, because Consecration bypasses the Vex milk, which it shouldn't be doing that, but it does. So it doesn't matter to Consecration users because it'll take them 2 seconds to kill him. But on non-Consecration users, skip that champ. You don't need to kill him for platinum rank. This is very good. It's very useful to know. So yeah, this wasn't bad for Colony in terms of ammo throughout the run getting to the boss, because we get ammo crates all the time, so we can kind of spam it. So we've actually got it in its best possible light. Look at the track. It's not even, some of the shots weren't even tracking him. We got him finishable, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, like this run got me thinking. Like, obviously, the sentinels or the robot insects that spawn from Colony are a type of concept in the game. Now, I would have preferred, rather than Prismatic, which, by the way, Prismatic is an old class. It's not a new one. Think about it. How is Prismatic new? It's using old elements from Strand, Arc, Solar, Stasis. It's using existing things, basically. There's some new fragments there, and the Transcendence feature is new. But ultimately, it doesn't feel like it's brand new. Do you get it? I just think what would have been nicer is a red subclass launching with the final shape, or a poison subclass. Strand is not poison, by the way. Strand is something else. I'm on about poison DOT build, or now I've thought a nano machine type build. So for the future, I would like to see, rather than them playing around with light and darkness, something that's been manipulated, right? Like a nano machine type build. We literally have it right now. They have the concept with Colony right now in the game. And you could sort of have it like your grenade is a sentinel. It's a mini sentinel. It seeks out the targets, right? And does damage over time type damage, right? They have the concept in the game. Pretty much like what Siva is. Pretty much what like Siva is, kind of thing. But, you know, that would have been... Imagine if we had a Siva subclass. That would have been so much better than Prismatic. In terms of the health of the game, and the amount of hype that it would bring. I guess they're going to save that for when they redo Wrath of the Machine, if they ever do. They've stated that they're not going to redo it. They have said they can't do it because of frames or something like that. But if they were to ever bring Wrath back and do like a Wrath type season, Wrath of the Machine, that is, bring a Saver subclass into fruition, I would much prefer that over Prismatic. But we got Prismatic in the game now. It's whatever's. We've already got it. We can't cry over spilt milk. It's still very good, is Prismatic. And I still like sort of think a lot about rules and exotic class items. And that's one thing that I think the Prismatic strength is that even though, like, you know, it's cut and dry on what fragments and things you should use, the exotic class items are not cut and dry. It's not exactly cut and dry. There are multiple rules that can be effective. So the two best rules, in my opinion, for a hunter are Inmost Light and the Cryo class item that gives you Woven Mail and it gives you ability regen. I've got that piece. I've showed you runs of that. The second best class item, I think, is this one that I'm using. I think it's very, very good. If you were to use it with a Tether build, right, or Silk Strike build, you're getting loads of supers with huge damage buffs, and you get your super back, right? And Roman Super's got that buff, so I just think that the roller I'm using is very, very good. If you have it, try it out with Tether, try it out with Silk Strike. But the other ones, I don't recommend so much. Like Golden Gun, it would be trash. Look at this for the Colony Loyalists. So look at I don't even know if the Rapid Impact was proccing there on him. I don't know if it was or not. I couldn't even tell. Colony's such a absurd weapon. I can't tell with all of its damage over time effects. So the damage is nearly there. Bear in mind, there's no Void Surge on this week. If there was Void Surge, I'd be interested to see what damage it does. Because ultimately, from a weapon, any weapon, this is applicable to any weapon, how much ammo are we using per champ? Now, the gun carries 30. So it's 8-round mag. It's got auto-load holster, by the way, as well. It has auto-load holster. That's part of the gun. Isn't that crazy that it's got auto-load holster? Yeah, it does. So how much ammo is it using per champ? It's using 8 shots and not killing the champ. You're getting them just about finishable. That's with debuff. So that's a little, it's a little bit too much, if you know what I'm saying. Right? Now, I did spam it on this run, so I was not very efficient with the gun. Right? I must admit that. But, you know, I was wanting to see what it does to red bars, what does it do to orange bars, what does it do to champs. So it's still, like I say, a good 50% buff would shake things up and would allow people to use this more than anarchy. Because look, it's good having anarchy strong, and we remember when anarchy wasn't strong, right? Remember the times when it got nerfed hard and then it was rubbish? Then it got buffed a little bit and then it was back to somewhere, but it was still perceived as being a bad off the meta gun, right? Like the particle deconstruction days when fusion rifles were king, you know, no one was using anarchy, right? Not really. So it went through its ups and downs, but then anarchy's then gotten strong over the past, 18 months. And it's good that anarchy's always a constant option, but I do seriously think that you should give mini competitions to sub-archetype of weapons. Anarchy is a sub-archetype of a weapon. It's a damage over time GL. I think Colony should directly compete with the gun. Why not? It's a cool concept. No other gun, as I said to you, has this concept of insect robots, apart from Ergo Sum, which that's a sword, that's something different. So, I just think it would shake things up and surprise people of it not just being a PvP gun. Like Colony's main power in D2 has been to get people mountaintop when mountaintop was needed in the old comp PvP, right? Colony was part of the mountaintop quest to get multi-kills with grenade launcher kills in PvP. That has been its main job in Destiny 2's lifespan. And I'm saying, look, that was a long time ago. Like, are you going to wait half of my lifetime until you buff this thing properly? You know, they've already slightly buffed it, so they're entertaining the idea. Because when you kill a major target, it spawns more insects. So they need to play more into that. So it should be something like the more damage you do per shot on a target, the more robots you spawn. That can be single target damage or kills. Boom. Very simple, easy fix. Back that up with a good damage buff because yes, damage buff matters. To get people to force people to use a gun, you need to make it feel powerful. A very simple way of doing that is to buff its damage. Some people aren't a fan of buffing guns in damage and want fancy bells and whistles, tablecloth type buffs. Look, give it a good damage bonus. That is a good way of showing to the player that a gun's powerful if it chunks down a major target quickly. That is the most rawest way to tell a player this gun is powerful when you can melt a target down. This is true for any damn game, any gun at all. Everybody, no matter what your language, Spanish, French, Russian, doesn't matter, Vietnamese, they all understand what power is visually. Now look at this amount of damage we're doing this super. Very good in terms of damage. So this, like I said, this was all a test. What's another good thing about Silk Strike is when you need exit strategy, you can just grapple away because it's got intrinsic grapple. Now I'm not running grapple as my grade. I'm running Duskfield. Why? Because we're up against overloads. I don't want to run grapple in this, but I'm just saying when I pop my super, I've actually got grapple there. So you can use it as a movement tool, which is really good. It was really good for that. Plus, another thing as well, because, look, we've got our super back. I've just used it. So do you see how good this roll is? So, yep. I've been playing a lot of hunt. This is another thing as well. Obviously, how long ago was it now? Let's say 2-3 weeks ago I was telling you, look, I need to up my hunter gameplay. It's been lagging. It was a visual observation by me. Nobody said to me, look, your hunter gameplay videos are rubbish. Nobody said that. Only I said that. I said it to you. I said, look, I need to pick up my hunter gameplay. I'm lagging behind on hunter. My Titan Warlock is fine, but my hunter wasn't because I just neglected him since Fallen Ship. Over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I have not neglected Hunter at all. I've had a little bit of a skill increase on Hunter. Prismatic, non-prismatic, I've put out a lot of Hunter builds. So, look, that's something that I think all players should do. Reassess yourself what you're doing. Are you playing too much of one class? It happens to us all. I think Warlock mains, Titan mains, if you're only playing one class and you main D2, why are you only playing one class? What's that all about? You don't main Warlock or Titan, you main D2. D2 has 3 classes. Why are you only playing a third of the game? I don't really understand it. If you're somebody that has not a lot of time to play, I don't buy that fully. I think you're lying a little bit because a lot of D2 players who main D2 make time for D2 because it's their hobby. So they don't go out drinking. They don't go out partying. They might have a family, but they still make time for D2 because I've spoken to a lot of people that do have families and main D2 and they make time for D2 still. And they still, raid every week. They still GM every week. They still do all the seals and all the stuff because it's part of their hobby. So I don't fully buy that when somebody says, oh, I don't have time to play all three. You do if you main D2. You definitely have time to play all 3 classes. For most people. People who are ultra busy in life and cannot main D2, well, then it's a little different for them. They're not in the same category. So we use a super here for good ad clear. But so with Silk Strike, use the light attack. Do not use the heavy attack at all. You will get more damage out of your super just using the light attack. Do not use the heavy attack unless it's at the very end of your super like that. Right? That's the distinction. We can use it at the end as the super just runs out. You can do a heavy, which the heavy will do more than the light per swing, but your recharge rate will be lost heavily. I think you can only do 4 heavy attacks, whereas light swings, I mean, I have not calculated how many light swings you do, but it's a visual representation. You can do a lot of light swings in Silk Strike. A lot. It's probably double the amount what the heavy can do. Pretty much. So this run as well, this is another observation. I'm not using a machine gun, am I? Because I'm using Colony. So do you see how the run is getting sort of hindered because I haven't got a machine gun on? Can you see this visually now? Like on this phase, the run will start to slow up now because we don't have a machine gun on to take these ads. Kinetic Tremors saves the day. It absolutely does save the day because even though it's not arc, it will bypass that shield and kill a harpy in 1 mag or less, right? Or half of a mag, say, which is very important for when we're up against harpies because Colony ain't doing nothing for me now. Look for the Colony loyalists. Damage on our champ there. So we've now spammed out all my heavy now. We have no more heavy left to use. Which, that's it over. But again, like I say, I wasn't planning to post this run, but I'll post it anyways. I'm not bothered because I've at least found something about the champ. We'll use another super here. We've got our super back to use, yes. So we'll use that now. Ads will despawn. We are on 23 minutes, which isn't bad going for a Colony run, I tell you. Like, if we compare this to my first ever run on Inverted Spire, that was on Prismatic Warlock on 50 minutes. Which, yes, everybody's first clear on Inverted Spire. Some people's Inverted Spires was an hour long, day 1. Conqueror Sale. When it came out, Conqueror Sale, Inverted Spire, the node, it was available day 1. Some expert players took them an hour to solo this. Why? Because they weren't familiar. None of us was familiar with Inverted Spire. Now we're all familiar. Now you're starting to see people optimize, like a good long range build will do this in 30 minutes. A good speedrunner will do this in 12 minutes. And so on and so forth, because skips are being learned. It's an evolution of it. See, not only can you be good, but you can watch other people and learn their optimizations and use them. So like, for example, the initial double barrier skip, look at this. So we get a Prismatic off. We've got a super to use, which I'm going to do. Right? Got a good prismatic here. That prismatic's very good what I just did there because we're in cover. The harpies can't hit me and I'm doing good damage to take out the overload and stuff. So that was a very good transcendence pop there. So yeah, it's basically an evolution. Like other players are discovering, oh, you can skip double barriers. Oh, you can do a sparrow skip. Oh, you can you know, use this weapon loadout. You can use Thunderlord. Oh, maybe you don't need Thunderlord. Use Witherhoard instead. Or maybe not use that one. Use, um, use some other weapon type that might be good in this that nobody's sort of showcased to you. So it's just an evolution over time. So it doesn't matter how good you are as a player. It's a culmination of many players together, showcasing strats off. And if you watch all of those runs, you are a culmination of all those strats. You get it? So we're all one being, we're all one universe. I am you, you are me. We are the two same people, basically. Because once I've showcased the strat to you, what's to say that that's not your strat anymore? That's not my strat now, it's now yours. It's part of your identity because you're doing the run. It's a deep think. Think about it. I've showcased you the double barriers. I've told you to keep that champ in the box. Now on your future runs, you're going to keep that champ in the box and use him as cover. As strategy cover against the overlords. On that phase, which actually does help. I just thought, something, I'm not gonna kill him. Just to see, here we go. So colony, let's do some direct hits. See, look at the damage. I've spammed 8 shots there, and the champ's half HP. That's with debuff. So you can understand my reason of a 50% buff, maybe 100% buff. Go wild with it. I think people like wild buffs nowadays as opposed to minor buffs. I think wild buffs get people playing the game. I think that's how they need to start looking at things now. Rather than, let's do a small rework and then a small rework. Sometimes it works, don't get me wrong. Like Revision Zero, that was a bad gun when it first launched. When that gun launched, I complained about it. I said, look, Outbreak Perfected is far superior to the gun. Now, Outbreak Perfected and Revision Zero are close. They're close in power. Outbreak maybe still wins slightly, maybe, but maybe, I know it has more super regen, but Revision Zero's massive body shot, massive damage it does with the 2-shot burst, and it has a sniper built into it. It's very good. I think a good Revision Zero user and Outbreak user are similar in terms of like completion times on solo GMs and stuff. They're playing a similar role. Maybe Outbreak's got more super regeneration built within it, but Revision Zero has a sniper built in it, and Revision Zero is harder to use, for sure. It's harder to use than what Outbreak is. Outbreak's just hold down fire, right? But that's not the point. My point is all those buffs with Revision Zero, where they've buffed it 2-3 times, and then you eventually give it like a major 140% buff or something silly. I don't know what the buff was. But when they did that, that was a game changer, and then all of a sudden Revision Zero is a meta. It's better than Wishender, basically. Basically, it's better than Wishender. Wishender's good, but it's slow, For today's sandbox, it's starting to slow up a little bit, even though, Wishender's still fantastic at what it does. Revision Zero is probably the quicker weapon, the better weapon to use overall. We're going to spam our heavy and special here, because there's no reason not to. There's an ammo crate coming up. Right, so we may as well just do that. Now, I have Fist of Light times 6. Now, it would hurt me to pop it right now. Why? Because I lose it. So, what I generally do is use a Roman Soup to get past the Cyclopses, but this is another strat. You don't need to. Look at this. You can casually run through and pretty much survive because of momentum. Well, haste. So, look, we're surviving just about. It's just about. I think at a lower level you can't. I think 20 or less, you would need to pop a super to survive if you're going to try and Cyclops skip like that. But at my power level at 2027, it doesn't matter. And guess the upside is this. I have now Feast of Light Super, which I otherwise would not have had because I would have used it and I would have had to refarm up Orbs of Power. Now I don't need to do that, and I've got it for boss. And we need all the damage we can get because I'm on colony. I need all the damage that we can get. Because essentially, we haven't really got a heavy as such. We've basically, we're in a weird situation because we haven't got anarchy and we haven't got a machine gun. Which are two best weapons in slot for this. So we're in like a weird spot. So we need everything we can get. So I'm going to debuff and then super straight away. Let's see the damage. So light swings. We're doing good damage, but he's gonna debuff. Sorry, not debuff. He's gonna TP. TPs. I lose a lot of damage, but we'll use the back end of our super with a heavy attack. Remember, only use that at the very last regeneration of your super. So when you've got like 5% left, then it's worth to use that heavy attack right at the end, but not at the start and not in the middle, etc., because it costs too much energy to do it. So we're doing very good eye clear. We pop a transcendence here because we want to survive. Which this was not my best transcendence pop in the run. I missed my nade on the boss, but we've got one. Can we hit it? No, I don't think we did. Cannot see. No, it's behind him. So yeah, it was not the best transcendence pops. I guess because I'm getting flinched and he keeps moving and trolling me, the boss. But we're doing good to survive with the harpies there, though. That was good. And we've got a transcendence back, look. So this build's very good for just getting transcendences back. It's very good for that. Like, we've just popped it. We've got it back. That's absolutely, decent. Look at that. 17k on his legs. Yellow bar chunking. By the way, Protheon Modular Mind, he's quite chunky nowadays. He's not like what he used to be. He's definitely a lot more chunky. It takes like Witherhoard and Anarchy to do some real good damage to him. Or extra risk, like you saw on my previous run. So he's definitely a lot chunkier than what he used to be, but obviously Colony's not doing nowhere near. Like if that's doing 17k with debuff, it should be doing what? 50k per debuff, not 17. We're in endgame, we need something. It's also a weird thing about, do you get direct hits with the gun or do you aim it next to a boss so that the robots chase him? Because the robots don't spawn in the same manner if you get direct hits. So that's another thing as well. You lose direct hit damage because you're trying to play these insect robot things. That's another weird oddity to the gun. This gun was always designed with PvP in mind. But I'm saying, look, PvP is kind of failing the game anyways. Barely anyone likes PvP. The PvP population in Destiny 2 is very low. Why have we got a cool concept of a gun that's made for PvP when barely no one's playing PvP? I agree with those PvP players. Why? If I was a PvP player, I would not be playing Destiny 2. I don't know why you are. I would definitely be playing many more other class PvP games that are out right now. There's loads of very good PvP games. I would honestly be giving Call of Duty a go. I know you're going to say, well, Call of Duty's bad. Not really. Not for PvP, it's not. For PvP, it's a very good game, right? And that's why it's lasted for so long, because it's got some good PvP elements. You can't deny it. The PvE side of Call of Duty's never been there, in my opinion, apart from some campaigns, sure. But as a PvE player, Destiny 2 is miles and leagues ahead of Call of Duty, of course. I'm just saying, like, as a PvP player, what motivates you? Why? I mean, even Grenadier Jake's having midlife crises. And he's like one of the leading founding front and fathers of PvP. And he literally is. He's one of the best PvP players to watch. Very easily one of the best to watch. Just because of how good he is. And he's just good to watch. He's one of my favourites. If I did have a favourite PvP player, I would say that he would fulfill that for me. Either him or Cool Guy, because Cool Guy's very good as well. But he's starting to do. He's trying to do PvE when he needs to stay in his own lane and only do PvP. In my opinion, he shouldn't be doing PvE. Just do PvP because that's what he's class at. That's what he's S plus at. Just stick to what he's very good at instead of trying to do PvE. So. Are we surviving? We are. We're surviving. We're doing decent. We're using Colony for eye clear on play 2, which, by the way, is the hardest part of this entire run. Kind of hilarious. So my strat on the run, on the go, is to be using Colony as we run and gun. Pop transcendences when possible. Right? Pop our stuff when we can, at least. If we can try and get an invis or health regen or whatever. Right, which we get an invis there, crutch invis, which has helped me survive. We're 14 ammo count for colony. This is pretty something. So we're probably going to have to spam we're going to have to expand our full ammo capacity to even get past plate 2. The final wave is being dealt with though, and we do have super energy. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Sorry, save. It's in my best interest to save the super right now. So, yeah, there's no more ads now, is there? So, yeah, there's no more ads. We just need to manage our ammo. See, another thing with inverted spire, and it's critical that you're seeing it now, when the boss enrages the floor, he launches the ammo to the matrix. So if there's a special brick on plate 2, it will go flying somewhere, and it's probably somewhere because there's Vex milk all around you on plate 3, and my theory is probably that green ammo goes into the Vex milk somewhere. Good luck on trying to find it. I don't know why does ammo have physics. Can someone explain it to me why we have physics for ammo? It should just stay still no matter what. It should not fall off the map. I think somebody somewhere in that Bungie Studios has trolled with that. Whoever's the physics lead for ammo has trolled with it, because it's trolled me for so many years now, the ammo thing. Okay, it's never an advantage to have ammo have physics in a game. I don't know why. The only time it was an advantage is when you could move them with explosive payload. Yeah, there was times when we needed to do that. That's going way back 2017, 2018 days. There was times when it was beneficial to actually do this. I'm not going to tell you when. I'm going to make you guess on when that was beneficial. But it's just like, why is there ammo physics for what? I don't get it. So on this phase, Fanatic spawn immediately. We need to try and get a Starless Executioner in Viz and then work the room. We need to work the room more than what I would usually work the room. When I say work the room, I mean manage it in a healthy way so that we're getting ammo drops for the next section without dying, of course, and rotating the room left to right. So what you need to envisage yourself or think about in your mind, how would you do this run if you had no ammo? Think of that in your mind. Once you've got that in your mind, you can do the entire run no matter what. No matter what happens in a run, you can do it. Okay? Now, if you're on a super OP build, you don't need to think like that. You need to think about, well, how can I do this as quickly as possible? Because I've got that much damage in all my weapons that even if I spam them, I would still have enough for the final phase. That is a different thought process, and that depends on your build. But I'm just saying this is a different way of playing, you know, to overcome issues in your run. Because even if you give somebody the best build in the world, they aren't you, and you're not me. I'm not, you know, getting world record times on solo GMs these days. So I don't think like that type of player as much. Exactly. I have an idea of what goes into it and how they practice for it, because I have practiced for speedruns in the past, going back a few years ago now. So I have an idea on how they farm it and how they go through the thought process of it. You know, they test the run each piece by piece. What's the quickest way to do this bit? What's the quickest way to do this bit? Can we do any skips? Are there any more skips to be done? When's the best supers to be done? When's the best transcendent pops to be done? And then they go through it. You know, should we sparrow fly on this bit? Can we do anything with that? You know, when do we super the boss? When do we not? How do we survive against the floating harpies if we're on a melee build? All these sort of questions come into play. That's obviously unique to them for their runs. Okay, because they have one goal in mind, how to do this as quickly as possible. This run is entirely opposite of that. We have to adapt. Adaptive munitions. Look at that. Did you see that? So I didn't know that I could have done that. I just took a guess. So I grappled to the harpies and supered them. This super's really good. Silk Strike's way better than I initially thought it was. I knew it was good with its buff, but I didn't know it was this good. I guess because I haven't had Feast of Light, and I haven't used Silk Strike for a long time with basically Star Eaters because I haven't used Silk Strike in ages. And this roll that you're seeing, Zer give it to me this weekend. I've only just got the roll. Okay, I was wanting this roll for a while. I wasn't getting it, but Zer gave it to me on my first pop, which is why you're seeing this run. This was just a test run. I wasn't meant to upload it, but I'll upload it anyways because it makes no odds to me if I do or I don't, because I know that it's not going to cook on views or what have you. It might cook, it might not cook. It probably won't cook, but it's something interesting. It's something a little different. It's for entertainment only. I'm not recommending anyone actually does this. I do recommend the Hunter build though, which I showed you at the start. I think the build's very good at what it does. Add dense stuff. I think this would be good in Onslaught. Very good in Onslaught, actually. Especially with a team of people who are making a ton of orbs for you. I think this build would be very good on Teva. All right. Particularly Teva's very good for Onslaught. Very good. Right. Don't undervalue the power of Teva. I know that we're in a Roman super meta, kind of. But when you're in ad dense areas where they all chunk and spawn in for a team, just being able to tether back to back is so OP, right? So if you can get this rule for your ons, because I think some people are wanting onslaught videos, I'll have a look at that and see how I can implement maybe an onslaught video. We'll see. But, maybe it's how we do it. There's so many ways that you can do onslaught videos. I think the best way for me to do it would be top 5 builds each class for Onslaught. That would be it. And then demonstrating gameplay of each. To me that stuff's harder than doing a solo GM. To actually articulate it all and do it in my style rather than someone else's style. It's difficult for me to sort of do it. I like to do it properly. If I'm either all in or nothing. If I can't find a way or think of a way of doing it properly, I won't do it. Just won't do it. I need to have a good way of sort of showing the viewer, right, this is exactly how it is. Rather than me half telling you. If I tell you half information, I don't like it. I don't feel good about the upload, so I won't upload it. See, so that takes more thought process, more editing process for me. If I just say, top 5 onslaught builds for each class, or it doesn't have to be top 5, just recommendations. I don't know why people are obsessed with top 5, top 6, top 10. Who cares? Just what do you recommend as a player to another player? I think that would be just the way to go. Just be simple about it, but I think this is a build for Onslaught, for the one I'm using. Not with Colony, though, obviously. You could probably keep the Scout. You could probably keep the GL. And then, you could stick on Anarchy or T-Lord as your exotic. It all depends on the Onslaught, because there's different maps. There's Tormentors to consider. There's all that sort of stuff to consider. So... there's more to it than just what I'm saying to you here. I haven't really thought about it. I don't play much Onslaught, to be honest. Since GM's come out over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I have not played Onslaught really at all. Once GMs start to get boring to me, I'll start playing Onslaught more. Maybe farm up some guns from Onslaught that I need. I need a Hung Jury. I need a Blast Furnace. Stuff like that. There's roles that I Midnight Coop. I still haven't got the best coupe that I could possibly get. There are some roles that I need. So this is a good Transcendence pop on this phase as we were getting melted there. So we need to make sure that we get our invis kills, and then we can do a good nade here and use the area denial to take out all the fanatics. We have no heavy, so we are kind of struggling. But we do have a super, but we don't have Feast of Light because I cannot get the orb. That's where Shoot to Loot would have come in for this little section here, I suppose. It would have. It definitely would have helped me out for here. So I'm just going to pop. I have 1 Feast of Light, I suppose, but that's fine. We'll just put in the damage. The run's done anyways. It's basically done now at this point. We are just DPSing the boss, basically. So yeah, that was a solo GM on this with Colony. Like I said, to summarise with the run, what we found out, Well, Colony was buffed at some point, as it spawns more insect robots than it used to. You can skip that single champ and a Bane off that box because he's trapped in that cupboard. Just keep him trapped in the cupboard. Don't open him up. You still get platinum rank. Those are the two, and also that this build with Star Eaters and Galanor is a very important role in PvE. Very good with Silk Strike, but I'm also telling you that it's very good with Ateva as well. That was the run on this. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.